after the loss of my mom, I was living in a little bit of depression. I didn't know what it was, but I kept saying, like, I gotta get out of here. It was one thing to march in the street, but how do you actually improve communities?
Sure.
Collaboratively, if we put our heads together, we get more done. Even though great things are happening in our community, people don't see it yet, right?
Michael Odupitan.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming on, man.
No problem.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah, okay, so you are the owner, founder, you run Omni Circle.
Absolutely.
Here in Topeka.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So for people that may not be familiar, man, just give us a background. Like, who are you? How'd you get into business? What are you doing these days?
Yeah.
The whole journey.
So I'm originally from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay.
I transitioned to Topeka in 2002. Didn't know how I ended up here. I was supposed to go to Marshall University on a football scholarship.
Where's that?
In Virginia.
You ever heard of Marshall University?
Right.
Made a whole movie about it.
Wait, from the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about what
Okay,
Randy Moss
I know
went to school.
that. I know the movie, but I'm not, in real life
Right.
as familiar.
Yeah. So I was supposed to go there. I was one of those young men that came out of college that's thinking that the only way to succeed was to play sports.
Right.
But that didn't mean that you focus on your academics. And so really good at football and basketball coming out of high school, but I didn't have the grades.
Sure.
And so going to Marshall, I couldn't get the scholarship that I deserved because I didn't have the proper SAT scores to go along with my GPA at the time. So I missed out on the opportunity to go to a D1 college. After that, I landed on another school, Southern Illinois. And then when I got to Southern Illinois, it was way too cold for a South Florida kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, Coach, get me out of here. I can't deal with the weather. So he ended up sending me back home. I sat there for a while. Summer came. And then I was like, Coach, is there any way that you can send me just anywhere? I'll go anywhere. And then he ended up telling me that Coach Shurik, who is currently at Pitt State, was coming to Washburn.
No way.
And so Pitt was out of their scholarships, but Coach Shurik was coming to Washburn for his first year here. And then they offered me a scholarship, and the rest is history from there.
Wow.
So your coach knew Shurik and was able to connect you guys?
Yeah, they actually coached together in Pitt State.
Wow.
And then when he took the head coaching job at Southern Illinois, Coach Shurik was still at Pitt State.
That's
but then
cool.
Coach got the job here at Washburn. And so they still had a connection there. And that's how I ended up here in Topeka.
Wild.
So that was 2002.
So that was 2002. Came here on a football scholarship, played 4 years of football here. Graduated with a degree in social work and criminal justice. And then I kind of went into the field after sports and graduating. And I spent about a good 10, 15 years here in Topeka, so I would say. Working in social services, doing everything from juvenile detention to working with foster kids. I became a foster parent for 8 years.
Wow.
Taking only teenage intensive boys.
Wow. Just the easy ones.
Just the easy ones, right?
Yeah.
No, far from the easy.
Yeah.
And then I got into more of the mental health field. Working in that space, did everything from working at K&I, working at Vallejo.
Okay, yeah.
And so that opened my world up to a lot of different things. It helped me also in that journey of like discovering what I wanted to do with my life. I got to a point in my life where I felt like God was working and telling me something. I didn't know what it was, but I kept saying like, I gotta get out of here. But as I was doing all these things, it was showing me that something was preparing me and I didn't know what it was. But 2015, man, I felt like something was calling me to leave, and I did. And so I went to Kansas City. 6 months after getting to Kansas City, I ended up losing my mom to cancer.
Oh,
and,
wow. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, man. And that was the turning point in my life a little bit for me, where I was still discovering who I wanted to be as an adult.
Right.
And a lot of things was happening. You know, we were dealing with the police shootings of the Eric Gardners and the Sandra Blands. And that kind of sparked Black Lives Matter. And we saw a lot of rioting in the streets and all these different things. So my question was, what are we going to do to rectify this issue? It's one thing to march in the street, but how do you actually improve communities.
Sure. How do you actually help people?
How do you actually help people, man? And so during that time, I tried to start an organization called Community Connections at the time. And
were you still in Kansas City?
I was in Kansas City still. I was working at a PRTF, residential treatment facility for kids. And from that point, I just said, man, I can kind of do something myself. And, I wanted to figure out how to better build in communities. And then I was also after the loss of my mom, I was living in a little bit of depression. And so after that, I did a bunch of reading, man, trying to discover who I wanted to be, self-help books, psychology books,
right,
history. And in that journey, I discovered Black Wall Street. Are you guys familiar with Black Wall Street?
Sure, yeah.
I am not.
Okay, so Black Wall Street was one of the most prominent African-American communities in the country back in 1918. But around 1921, they had what they called the Tulsa Race Massacre, where the story goes, there was a young man that made a pass, African-American man that made a pass at a white woman. And she informed her husband, and her husband informed law enforcement, and they created a riot. They wanted to arrest the guy, but the community of the Black Tulsa and Black Wall Street refused to give him up. And then it created a whole riot. And they burned down the whole community, and they lost all of their wealth, and a lot of people died. That was pretty traumatic to understand what happened to a community, but also understanding how did they build such a prominent community where they had everything from doctors, lawyers, grocery stores, movie theaters. They had everything you can name, some of the most wealthiest people in the country at the time. And so I went down there. I ended up moving to Tulsa in 2018 because I wanted to learn more about how to establish community like that.
Wow.
And so I was committed to the thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I moved to Tulsa, kind of learned about what they were doing in Tulsa, not just in Black Wall Street, but Tulsa as a community at whole. And Tulsa's probably one of the most fastest growing communities in the country right now with some of the things that they're building innovatively.
Is that where Matt Pavarnik was?
Yeah, he was in Tulsa before he came to Topeka.
So did you know him?
I did not.
Okay.
I think when I moved to Topeka, Matt was already in. When I moved to Tulsa, Matt was already in Topeka.
Oh, okay.
And so I think Matt came here around 2015.
Right.
And so I got there in 18, so he was already gone. But Tulsa had already started their momentum.
Right. So you're seeing some of the results, maybe of some of the things he was doing.
Probably if he was already a part of that, right?
Wow, yeah.
And so when I got there, they had already started the gathering place, and it was already open. They did a lot of construction.
Someone else was just telling me about that. I've heard amazing things about it.
Oh, that's the awesome part. If you've never been there, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
So just learning and those type of things, and I discovered more of my path, and decided that I was going to commit myself to a journey. And so I did. And then I had a calling that Topeka was the place that I needed to do it. I was actually on my way back to West Palm Beach, and I was walking out of my church at the time. I was attending a church called All Souls. And my pastor had mentioned to me as I was walking out, he said, sometimes God places you in places you don't know why you're there, but you're there to do God's work. And I had to sit on that a little bit.
Right.
Like, what does that mean? But the entire time that
there's a lot packed into that.
Oh, man. The entire time that I was here, I was asking God, why?
Right.
Why am I in Topeka? Out of all places in the country.
Right. There's a lot of people asking that question sometimes.
Right.
Here in Topeka.
But I didn't discover why. And honestly, I tell people, whether they believe it or not, Topeka kind of saved my life a little bit because growing up in the community that I was in, there was a lot going on. There was killings left and right. There was a little bit of a turf battle going on at the time that I had came here. So I saw a lot of my friends, passing away, going to jail, all those different things. So it kept me here. Because I knew if I went back home, it was going to be a tough situation. And so when I was preparing to go back home, I came back here to visit one more time and had a couple friends that I played football with was like, hey, why don't you come back to Topeka and do that instead of going back to Florida?
Wow.
And so I was like, all right, well, if I come back, would you guys help me? And they said, yeah. So I moved back in 2019 and then kind of the rest was history. We started Omni Circle August 25th, 2019. And we've been building ever since. So
that's wild.
Yeah, that's kind of where the journey
started. What a story, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Omni Circle.
Wow.
It's what you're doing now. You're full-time owner, operator, CEO. Break us down. What's Omni Circle?
So Omni Circle as an organization really started with the grassroots focus. Our mission is to unite and strengthen communities by creating equitable opportunities for individuals to grow socially and economically. We do it in 3 pillars. So we have 3 phases of our organization where we say we connect, collaborate to create. And it's a pathway to success. We typically say we focus on building people from survival to creation.
Wow.
And so in that space, my background being in social service, working with people, utilizing some of those philosophies in Maslow's hierarchy.
Sure.
Meeting the basic needs of people, providing them with education, and then helping them achieve their purpose. And so in that connection phase, that's what we do. We volunteer in the community by offering the basic needs. We have a free mowing program. We do food distribution.
Wow.
We volunteer. And then we have a youth mentorship program, and all of those services are free.
So who's volunteering? Like, you're recruiting volunteers from the community to join you, or do you have like employees that are volunteering their time outside of work?
Yeah,
or,
we have
how does that work?
Members of the community. So that first phase is where we serve in the community, and that's where we started. And then as we were
was the first thing that Omni Circle was doing, was just volunteering in the community.
Volunteering in the community. We think about 2019, you had COVID. And we wasn't really expecting COVID, but COVID came.
Right.
Shortly after we started. And then the second phase of that, you had George Floyd.
Right.
And so when those 2 things happened, there was a lot of need in the community. So we were just trying to meet those basic needs of people. And then when we were meeting those needs and we were finding people who wanted to help, we said, okay, what can we do for you? And a lot of people say, well, I'm looking for further education, whether that be trying to improve my credit, or trying to find a better job, or how do I, get my kids into college and prepare for financial aid and all these different things. Yeah. So that was the education piece. So in Maslow's, after you meet the basic needs, you give people a sense of belonging, and then you also educate them to become more confident.
Right.
And so we said, okay, well, what can we do to meet the needs of these individuals? So we started a membership part of our organization. So that's that second phase, our collaboration phase, where we help people become more whole. And so we call it our whole person leadership. So in that whole person leadership, we provide community, we provide educational opportunities for growth and development. And then we also are trying to build a pipeline for leadership. Wow. And so we take those individuals as they become more leaders, we take those leaders and incorporate them back into the community for volunteerism. And so now not only are they benefiting, but they're also having an opportunity to serve. And so when they get to a place where they are ready to become a leader and they say, man, I've discovered a thing that I want in my life, or I want to create, that's when we move into the third phase of our creation phase, which is our Topeka startup community. And we give them the opportunity to start a business if they want to. And we have a phase from early stage to mid stage to hopefully getting people access to capital.
Right. Okay. So, you walked in here, you're on the phone doing some fundraising. That's for that.
So we work with entrepreneurs. And so we try to get access to resources.
Wow.
And so depending on where you are in your business, as we work with the entrepreneurs, we try to get them to access that. We don't do everything, but there are resources that people don't know about in our community that exist.
Right.
And so if you don't know about these resources, then they could be the thing that blocks you, or it could be the thing that helps you sustain and grow.
Sure.
And so what we try to do is find the resources and then get them access to the resources or the opportunities to expand what they're doing, or their vision, or their dreams. So
you're not necessarily like doing just like fundraising for, like, if a guy comes through your organization, grows as a leader, is like, man, I have this, business idea, or a need I want to meet through this business or whatever. Are you like helping fundraise for that, or you're like like uncovering, hey, I've discovered there's a network of opportunities for you to go, you can apply for this, you can apply for this, or is it a mixture of all of that?
It's a little bit of both. So we don't do the funding ourselves. I mean,
so you're not like calling guys like, hey man, I need you to donate 10 grand to this guy who's starting a business. You're like, hey, if this guy applied here, is there an opportunity there or something like that?
So as we were learning and developing, like, a lot of individuals that we were meeting with, they said, hey, I want to start a business, but I can't find any money to start the business.
Right.
So we said, well, what is the problem? Why aren't people being able to start a business? So we started with the banks. So we started asking certain banks and saying, hey, are you not funding individuals who need to start a business? And they were like, well, we would love to fund, but if they don't have the proper business plan or if they don't have the financials to go with their business plan.
So then you come and help these guys like, hey, let's get the basics of business plan.
So we
whatever else.
Gotcha. Okay.
We help you develop yourself.
That's cool.
Helping you learn how to put your business plan together, write your financials, understand how business works. And so we have an early stage cohort that we call Fast Track through the Kaufman Foundation. And then we have a mid stage. So once you take yourself from ideal to concept, we go from concept to launch.
Okay.
And so when you're ready to launch, then we provide you with the resources that are beyond what we do that can get you access to capital. So whether it be working with the entity like Shawnee County Startups or connecting you with the bank or connecting you with some type of other resource that you that was out there, then we'll pass you along.
So let me ask you this on that same line. To get is it a small business loan? Is SBA loan? Is that what?
So there's the SBA loans. There's a number of different opportunities.
So to get a loan from a bank to start a business, what sort of business plan do you have to have? Like, what is that brief overview? What does that look like?
Yeah. So a business plan is basically your vision, right? And so how can you articulate your business vision to be able to say, is it going to be sustainable? Is it going to be impactful? And will the banks get a return?
Right.
By giving
will
you
it
the
be
money?
Profitable?
Right.
Yeah.
So if I'm able to give you $50,000, are you going to make $100,000 for me to get my money back and for you to be able to make a profit? Right. And so I think the banks evaluate that in your business plan. And then you also need financials to show that you're going to see some growth in your business.
Yeah.
And so a lot of entrepreneurs don't typically know how to do that unless you go to college or you take some type of business course. But if you're just saying, hey, I got a great idea and I want to, right now food trucks are booming.
Yeah.
I'm a great chef. I know how to cook. I want to start a truck, but I don't know how to sustain that on the business side. I can do the cooking, but I don't know how to run a business.
Yeah,
sure.
So what we try to do is help them not just work in the business, but work on the business.
That's so cool. I've always thought there are so many people out there that have unique skills and could contribute to society, to the city in so many different ways. They just don't know how to run a business.
Exactly.
It's hard.
Exactly.
Right. What's the percentage of businesses that fails? Like 80, 90% of them?
High, man. Yeah. But that's the reason that a lot of businesses fail, because they don't have the business understanding.
Right. It's less to do about your product sucks. And it's more of, it's just hard to keep a business going, doing all the back end stuff.
And it's relational.
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, if the thing that makes you a really good, chef, for instance, does not make you a good business person.
Right.
It makes, man, you have a great product, but if you don't know how to run, that's cool, man. I like that. Yep. So it's been 2019 is when you first was kind of tip of the spear for you guys. So we're 4 to 5 years in. What's been maybe the most exciting part and then maybe the most challenging part of kind of what you've been up to in the last 5 years?
Yeah, I think the exciting part is to see when you have a couple success journeys.
Right. Some people who
are
killing it.
Who've been through the journey, who are doing the thing, that have changed their mindsets, and then now are out there doing great things in the community. And so the more and more people that we can develop and we can push out into the community and they're out doing their thing and sustaining, that's the success for us. What's challenging is Topeka is a community that's a little slower to move. And I think we're trying to change that collectively as a community. But the things that you may see happening in a bigger city, right? Sometimes if it's happening in a bigger city and you bring it to Topeka, it's unfamiliar to our community because we're not accustomed to that lifestyle. And so, yes, it may be great. It may be a great idea, but if we're not caught up yet, then it doesn't resonate the same. So
you're talking about like types of businesses that someone might start that
Absolutely.
maybe Topeka isn't ready for or something.
Yeah.
Do you have an example?
For an example is we opened our collaborative workspace. If you go to bigger cities and you have a shared workspace, those workspaces are typically filled with people working together, collaborating, building their businesses together, sharing ideas, supporting each other, taking advantage of the resources, which is what it's for. But we've been a little slower on our workspace because a lot of people don't know how to utilize it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so, and a little slower because we're trying to get investment in it, and then not everybody understands how it's going to be beneficial for our community.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but if they understood how that worked, then we would have more opportunity to educate the community, provide these resources, and get people to where they want to be.
Yeah.
And then getting them to collaborate. So you may come in and you might say, hey, I have a business idea and I think I want to start a cleaning company, right? Then you come to me and say, hey, I have a great idea for this new carpet cleaning machine I've developed. And then we might say in bigger cities, we might want you to come together and build a business together. Right. And then now you are a multi-million-dollar company because you utilize the resources together. Right.
Let's go.
But if you try to work individually, then it's a little harder to do.
Sure.
Because you're trying to do everything by yourself.
Sure.
You're trying to do everything by yourself. So collaboratively, if we put our heads together, we get more done.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So is Omni Circle then, is it a nonprofit?
Absolutely. We are a nonprofit.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought Omni Circle was just the co-working space.
No.
Yes,
like that's what you drive by, you see the building. And I was like, oh, it's co-working space. That makes sense. So when, come in like, yeah, I'm trying to get funding for this. And I was like, wait, what do you do? Like that doesn't compute with the co-working space.
Yeah.
So
this makes significantly more
the co-working
sense.
space is more of a side gig than to the heart of what you're doing.
Yeah, the heart of what we're doing is transitioning people all the way up to the co-working space.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So once you start a business and you're needing a place to incubate that business, or a place that you can't afford a brick and mortar, but you are somebody that needs office space, then now you can use that shared space to work together with other entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So would you say Omni Circle is a good, because we have a wide variety of people who listen to this show, whether they're from Topeka or they just
we have tens of listeners.
Tens.
That might see this.
Tens.
That's right.
And we're looking at 1, 2, 3, and 4 of them right here.
That's right.
Someone who's thinking about starting a business and, it's conceptual at the moment. Is this something that Omni Circle, hey, we should reach out and get involved? We don't really know where to go or how to start. That would be a good organization to.
Yeah, we currently right now probably, when you think about businesses in Topeka that offer business education, there's a number of different platforms. You can use mentoring and SCORE. You can connect with the SBDC through Washburn, and they'll help you like write a business plan, and they'll help you put together your financials. But if you want to learn and go through a cohort of learning, which is like without going back to college and spending a ton of money, which it could be $300-400 a credit hour, which that works for you.
Yeah,
it works for you. But our business cohorts start at $300.
Okay,
so or even $250. So you can come and take a 8-week to a 12-week course for less than $500.
Wow.
You see
what does that look like? It's a cohort, so it's with other people.
Could you give us the 8-week breakdown here in the next 5 minutes?
Yeah. So basically the 8 weeks or the 12 weeks, we have a series of trainings that we offer in particular topics from personal budget and credit to marketing to legal to P&Ls. That you'll take a 12-week course, and every week, once a week, for 12 weeks, we'll cover a particular topic. We'll bring in a speaker, and then you get to work on your business. And you get to work on your business ideal. So if you have a business ideal, we will literally walk you through the process of all those things of what it takes to run a business. And then when you're ready, like you said, we have early stage ideal to concept, and then concept to launch. And so you can get a total of 20 weeks with us for less than $800.
Wow.
So you used the phrase earlier of like, as like a, potential leaders coming up through it, having to like change their mindsets. Have you found, obviously it's important that you learn, like educational, you're learning concepts, of how businesses work, how to put a business plan together. What about like the deeper elements of just like how someone sees the world? Obviously, like it seems like you're wanting to help shape people's, not just education, but like their mind, the way they see, so they can see opportunities and seize upon them. And even when there's challenges, you're pushing through. And I mean, that's such a deeper level of seeing the world than just, kind of taking a class. Like, so what has that been like,
Yeah. So we've been developing. So in that time, when I lost my mom, I went into this deep dive of reading, and man, I was reading like 400-page books in a day. I was just kind of like immersing myself in books. And so I've read a ton. So in that, a lot of those books were like self-help, personal development, psychology.
What were some of the best ones? Like you look back and man, that was helpful.
It's a couple of them, man. I have a catalog, but I think one of the books that I always recommend to people is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza.
Okay.
Then The Motivational Manifesto by Brendon Burchard. And then I'm a huge fan of Malcolm Gladwell and all of his series of books.
Sure.
And so these are things that kind of shape and shift who you are. So from that, and then The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy is another great one.
I was just talking about that book with somebody else. Yeah.
And so I was diving into all of these different books, and I started to develop my own kind of curriculum. And so now I have this curriculum that we train and develop people on called Brain Over Body. And so what that basically does is it teaches individuals how to be the leader of themselves through the mind versus being managed through the emotions of the body.
It's so good. Yeah.
Say that again. Say that again.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
So it teaches people how to be the leader of themselves through the development of the mind versus being managed through the emotions of the body.
It's great.
So everything that we go through in life, if we understand that we are spiritual beings living a human experience through the physical and the consciousness of this world. And so everything, if you're not intentional, then this world can shape who you become through the outside in versus leading yourself from the inside out.
Right.
And so a lot of times culture, society, all of those things are what we are absorbing in this experience versus living in the true nature of who we are through our spiritual being versus through our physical and feeling emotions.
Right. That's so good. We have this phrase we like to use. Emotions are great indicators, but terrible dictators. Like they're great at indicating, hey, something's a little off. You should think about this, reflect on this, see what's up. You're sad or you're happy or whatever. And that's good because emotions aren't like bad.
Right.
But they're really bad at telling you what to do.
Right.
Hey, I'm sad. Go to McDonald's. Like that's not a good move. Whatever. And I love that, man, because it's interesting. To me, just the whole philosophy of what you're doing is it's obviously bigger than just a business. It's bigger than just like even a product of some kind. It's about building people.
Absolutely.
And man, that's probably the thing I'm most passionate about as well. So it's just cool that it is all about people. It's all about building leaders. Like the most successful people are successful because they're successful at building people. And so it seems like that's really what you're doing. I'm curious, I'm sure I'm sure your schedule is very full, like overseeing all of these things. I'm curious if there are like a few of the people coming up through this that you're like personally more invested in, like you're spending time with, like, man, I want to personally give some time, or
it's not
like
really
that.
No, we don't give anybody a particular personal time with. I think what we focus on, because we are, like you said, we are people focused, people centered. And so what we try to do is we focus on the 4 dimensions of a person. So we're people focused, and that starts with the spirit. And then we focus on the 3 dimensions outside of that: mental, physical, and emotional. And so everything starts with the inside of you, right? So we say things start with you. You stands for your own understanding. the more you understand you, the better
Right.
you maneuver emotionally, physically, and mentally in this society or in this world. So life is about choices. And so what we do is we say, if people desire our support and our help, then we will help. We can't make anybody do anything that they don't want to do. And so when people come to us, we have some successes of individuals who have grown through the organization, but it's really up to them to do the work once we provide them with the framework.
Right.
And so, because again, we can't make them do the work. Like, you know, if you play sports, no one can make you go take the extra 100 shots.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you have to, if you want to get better, you got to put in the time and effort. And so, if they desire, again, that additional coaching or support, then we set time aside for them.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that was my question. Is more like mentoring. Like, how does mentoring fit in? You know, is that something that's a part of that, or?
Yeah, the mentoring part is not so much one-on-one unless somebody desires it, but within our program, we offer the workshops and the training.
Sure,
so we have a men's group, we have a women's group. We are constantly trying to provide some form of education because we feel like in order for you to grow individually, there has to be continuous development. And so as you are growing and trying to get to that leadership, you have to constantly be invested in some form of reading, some form of education that is changing the way that you see the world.
Right.
And so I often tell people about the Plato's allegory of the cave. If you guys are familiar with Plato's.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Nope,
so
bring it.
So Plato's allegory talks
Come on,
about
man.
Hey. Oh, I completely already know this. But
he's like, I need you to just talk about it. For
right. Yeah. This one's for the listeners.
Right.
this one's not for Justin.
Yeah.
Right. So Plato's allegory talks about people being in the cave and not knowing the light of the day. And so all they know is the cave. And then they have this fire in the cave and they just see these shadows projected on the wall from the fire. And when that's all that you know, then you're living by this somewhat false illusion of reality. And so a lot of people, whether they know it or not, sometimes could be living by the false illusion of what people typically give to them. So I would say for myself, the false illusion for me was all my life. People told me, if you want to be successful, you got to play football and basketball.
Right.
But what's the percentage of someone actually making it to the league? It's like 0.0000, like one, whatever. And so, but there's other careers that you could be pursuing. And if no one ever gives you the reality to those other careers, you have no perception of that.
Right.
And so imagine one of these people that were in the cave actually get out and they see the light for the first time. You typically go through what they would typically call a culture shock. Me coming to Topeka, Kansas was my culture shock. And so I got here and, you know, it didn't look like what West Palm Beach looked like, especially at Washburn when you're talking about it only being 5% minority.
Right.
Right. And so, or if not more now. And so when I got here, that was our struggle. I had to go through the process of getting into the light of seeing things that I never was exposed to. And so now that I had a broader vision of the world, I started to seeing things for what they really could possibly be and making shape of that. Then you know how to attack things differently.
Right.
And so now having a broader perspective, now that I understand, now it's our responsibility to give it back to help someone else see that light. And so, so that's what our journey right now is like, how do we expose more into people through this mentoring, through this education, to be able to say, oh, now I see what my potential could potentially be. And then now I can go after things that are more real, right? And I can achieve more because I have a realistic plan for how to go after those things. So that's what we try to do. We try to provide that education, that awareness, those understanding of what resources and opportunities exist, that it's not just living by the illusion, but it's actually things that are tangible.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, it's interesting just kind of piecing some of your story together. Like you, and I'm sure I'll get some of the timeline wrong, but basically you had experience in like the social services world with foster kids, had foster kids. I mean, that's just an up close and personal experience with brokenness and thinking that doesn't lead to success and, you know, all that kinds of things. And then COVID and the BLM riots, and you're seeing, okay, there's a need where people are not seeing the opportunities that are available to them to succeed in life. And you're trying to piece all these things together. And basically where you land is, I want to help build people who can become leaders. And the solution to a lot of these problems is really helping people not just embrace opportunities, but become like leaders who can take advantage, who can take a hold of opportunities, who can create opportunities, who can, build something that solves problems in the city and all kinds of things. It's amazing. I mean, it's just cool.
It's a really cool story.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. So as now it's 2024, you're looking at the city of Topeka. Mm-hmm. You've been back for 5 years or something. And what are some of the things that you're most excited about in the city of Topeka? Like, what do you think is like, where is Topeka like winning as a city, and where are the opportunities that really Topeka hasn't quite laid a hold of yet? Like, what are the challenges?
Yeah, I think what the city has done so far with the Momentum 2027, I think, it's kind of like, I feel like it's like a pot on the stove. You can turn up the heat, and it takes a while for the water starts to bubble, mm-hmm. right? And I think that for a while, Topeka couldn't see the value of itself. And it's, even though great things are happening in our community, people don't see it yet, right? There's so many people working behind the scenes to try to make this community a better place. And some of this stuff is starting to bubble, right? And the water is getting warmer and warmer and warmer. But I think that our community can't see it because it's not always articulated on what's to come. Mm-hmm. So I think what's exciting is that where this community may be in the next 10 years will be a very different Topeka. And, you look at all the things from what Advisors Excel has been able to do with remodeling certain areas like the Gage Center area. Right. You talk about the mall, you're talking about downtown. You got businesses downtown. You got the Energy Plaza. This stuff was not happening when I left, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so if people don't appreciate that, you got the viaduct coming, you got Nodo. These things did not exist. Now we have things to do in this community. So that's exciting to know that we are on the right track. It doesn't always feel like it. It's not moving as fast as people want, but it is moving. Challenges that I think that we can address is, one of the things I would love for Topeka to kind of think about is embracing and supporting the things that are happening in your community by the people from your community, right? Mm. So like, if we get, like when Chipotle came to town, it went crazy for months. And whoever owned the Chipotle did really well.
Right.
Chick-fil-A came to town, went crazy, still going crazy.
Right.
Every lunch period, it's full of cars.
Yeah.
You get a local business, open a restaurant, no one goes. You know what I mean? Right. And these are the people that we need to be supporting as they are building in the community and investing in the community. Not saying that the person who brought that Chick-fil-A or that Chipotle to this community may be from here, and maybe we need to support them too. But what about the local businesses, right?
Sure.
If you become a small community that is driven by the local and small, then that looks very different, because now you have people succeeding out of your own community in a major way. Not the people who had the money to do it, but the people who didn't have the money. So if you, like you said, if you guys wanted to start a business and you grew up and built millions of dollars because this community supported you, that looks way different, right? But we're driven by, right now, it feels like the chain restaurants,
especially over on Wanamaker.
You know, so it's like, why can't we support the tea boxes or the Blue Banks or, you know, some of the local Nanny Soul Foods or, you know, those people who are breaking their backs to try to create something in this community, but it's hard for them to do it. So they're in business for a few years and then they go out of business because they don't have the support. We got to do a better job.
What are some examples of businesses that have kind of gone through Omni Circle that maybe are now rocking and rolling on their own, or, you know, maybe they're still part of the organization, but what are some businesses that have kind of come through your organization that we would maybe know?
Yeah, I think that some of this Chick-fil-A, I wish we would be in a very different place.
Chipotle, right? Chick-fil-A,
Starbucks.
I know, man. No, we got some local people doing some things. And I think they're really just starting to get off the ground. Some of these individuals already had their ideas moving and shaking, but I think having that additional support to be able to grow, to realize, really take it to the next level. And so our first business cohort, we had, I say Danielle J. Martin. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she used to be the reporter on WIVW.
Okay.
The weekend anchor, but now she's kind of went through our program, developed herself in this community, and then she just did a pretty significant event called the Rise and Thrive event. I think Gabe did some of the recording there.
Nice.
Attaboy, Gabe.
Come on, Gabe.
And so, but she did a 2-day conference that she's been growing that in the last couple years. And this last one she did, I mean, she had over 200 women show up to both.
Wow. That's cool.
Of this event. So that's pretty significant. But not even
and just, it's like a conference for women in the community. Cool.
So she's been doing that and rocking that. So that's pretty good to see. You know, this is our third cohort and having somebody from our first one out in the community doing some stuff. We had a couple other entrepreneurs that are now already had a platform, but building upon what they had with some of our education. So that's good, going well. I also like to highlight, we have a young man who, Jarvis Doman, who came to us, man, and have elevated his career, going from making a certain amount of money to almost doubling that, in the course of our organization by finding a job that now he's leading in a space that could be impactful to our community. So it's just getting people from a point of where they thought they were hitting a glass ceiling to breaking through that ceiling and then living up to their potential is what we really see.
So would you describe Omni Circle, like at the heart of it is not just like a business engine, it's like just helping people level up?
Yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey from, like we say, survival to creation.
Right. So maybe someone doesn't start a business, but they're still a success case because they leveled up and are now have different opportunities they weren't aware of before.
Yeah. How do you define success?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm asking. It's a tough.
Success is driven by the individual. Right. And so.
Which is what I'm saying. Yeah. Because it'd be like, hey, this guy didn't start a business, but man, he got a better job. He didn't even know that maybe it was possible or something.
Right. So success looks different for every individual. Right. So as we talk about, success could be, hey, I came to this organization and I wanted to buy a house. That's my success. And we provide you with the resources to do that. So we also have credit building. We have financial advising. And so you can come here and you say, man, I'm trying to buy a house. I just don't know how to properly save to do this way. And we say, well, let us provide you with some training to help you do that. And then that's your success because you bought the house. So we provide all of those different resources that will help people achieve results that they want. It's not more so just about the business success.
Yeah.
It's about the results that you desire.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like maybe one last question and then rapid fire.
Let's do it.
Okay, so where would you like to see Omni Circle go? Like 10 years from now, 20 years from now? What's the dream?
Our 10-year plan is that we definitely want to see the organization be one that helps economic and social impact throughout, not just Topeka, but throughout cities throughout this country. And so I would love to see 10 years from now to see Omni in 3 different states. I want to see Omni maybe implemented throughout a couple different communities throughout the state. And I want to make sure that we serve a large capacity of individuals to be able to get to where they want to be. And so 10 years from now, that's kind of what we're working on. We want to be that entity that really drives social and economic impact throughout multiple facets of communities. And we'll see how far it goes.
Love it, man.
Wow.
And how would someone, plug in with you guys?
As an individual or as a investor? Because those look very different.
I was thinking more as an individual.
Both. Right.
Yeah.
Individual than investor.
To all of the billionaires watching this, how would they plug in? Yeah.
No, as an individual, really, man, just reaching out to us and through our social media platforms or through our website. We say, and I'll just be transparent on this, Omni Circle is an organization that serves pretty much everybody. But our focus is on serving the most underserved and underrepresented. And as a Black man, I will never go away from trying to create opportunities for other Black individuals who have been marginalized for a very long time. And so it doesn't mean that we are stopping anybody from taking advantage of our services, but we definitely want to make sure that we put a focus on getting this information to those who typically haven't had access to this information. And so so anybody who is trying to grow, trying to develop, want to be in a diverse group of individuals, that's who we are. So Omni Circle in itself, if you think about being present, being omnipresent, is that we want to be in multiple places, serving people in multiple facets, and being a community through what the circle is, collaboration, unity, and all of those different things. So we say we want to be the most diverse organization through Topeka right now, serving multiple people, bringing people together in ways that they normally haven't come together, and then taking advantage of these resources that we have. As an investor, they can always reach out as well. Money is always good. We're a nonprofit organization, so we don't make a lot of money on the services that we provide. But also, if somebody wants to be a partner in the space, or they may have a resource that can benefit somebody, we also look for those partnerships as well, because then that way we are furthering the access to these resources that a lot of communities, marginalized communities, haven't had the access to for a very long time. So then when we talk about growth in communities, you need those resources. And so if we can get those resources in the hands of people who need it, then we can see ourselves become a better community overall.
Awesome.
Wow.
Cool. All right. Some rapid fire questions that we have. How many potholes did you hit on your way over here today?
I don't even count anymore.
Yeah, don't even count anymore.
I got a Jeep Wrangler, so we just bump around as we drive.
That's becoming
four-wheel drive all the time now.
Right.
It's becoming the runaway favorite answer, I feel like.
All right.
Have you ever been able to get to and from somewhere in Topeka without hitting some sort of construction?
Yeah, I often do. Yeah, I'm a back street driver, so I typically.
There you go.
Yeah, I avoid the main streets most of the time.
Yeah.
There you go. I feel like did you come from Omni Circle today?
Yeah.
I feel like you had to have hit construction then on the way here.
I don't think so. I came. Like I said, I'm a back street driver. I came up 13th Street.
Okay. Wow. I didn't hit a main road.
Or 15, right? And I come up 15, then I hit Washburn. What's this? McVicker.
Mm-hmm.
And I came down McVicker, and then I hit.
There we go.
Yeah. There you go.
See, it is possible.
It's the Topeka 29th Street. They blocked that off, and then they blocked another one off.
They're just always improving, John. We're always improving around here. Yeah. All right. Favorite local restaurant that Topeka has?
Honestly, I like, because I come from West Palm Beach, I like the uniqueness of food and authentic food. So one of my favorites right now is Monsoon Grill.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I like it a little takeaway. I like some Indian food.
There you go.
Favorite local coffee shop?
Local coffee shop. Circle. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't really frequent coffee shops, but I do like the work that Circle Coffee is doing in the community.
Yep. We had David on earlier in the year.
Yeah.
We should get the Monsoon Grill guys on.
Yeah, we should. That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Are you a golfer?
No, I'm not a golfer.
Okay. Favorite golf course?
But I do swing some clubs at T-Box.
There you go. Yeah. You were talking about supporting the T-Box. Oh, I support the T-Box. That is for sure. Yeah, especially from November to February, we were out there.
It's actually driving a wedge between him and his wife.
It's driving a wedge.
Hey, can you please stop? You're at the T-Box all the time.
Not even. My wife loves to golf.
Yeah.
So it's marriage bonding, actually.
There you
Absolutely.
Go.
Local gym?
Koloff right now.
Koloff?
Yeah.
I was excited when you told me you were an athlete, because I was like, bro, like I gotta figure out what gym you're working out at. Like
this is remnants of the football.
You're just holding on
to get it back, man.
From 2002.
Yeah, for real.
You're doing a good job, bro. A lot of people, it takes way shorter time to let go, and you've held on, man.
Nah, it's been a struggle. Tell me, I just got back in the gym in the last 2 months, so I haven't been in the gym in a while. So when you're building a business, it's hard to maintain all the things.
Right. Yeah.
And so this is the last 2 months. man. You are seeing a reflection of what I've been in the gym. But I think it's the muscle memory.
That's what I tell myself. You know, you're building the business. You just got to let some things go. And the gym just happens to be one.
Right.
So that's okay. Thank you for giving me permission.
I would like to know how I can achieve these results in 2 months. As you seem to have.
I tell you, it's muscle memory, man. It don't take long for it to bounce back.
That's right. So there you go, man.
All right, you're doing a project around the house. Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards. What's your go-to?
Lowe's.
Lowe's for sure.
Ooh.
Any reason why? Just
it's just a feel. I think it's the
going with the gut.
Well, I just it's something. Maybe I'm an aesthetic person, and so you get different feels when you walk into different places.
Oh yeah.
Lowe's feels aesthetically my style.
I like it. That's a good answer.
It does. It seems like more the most like clean cut of all three. I think that's probably the case.
That's probably it.
I'm a Menards guy through and through. I walk in there, I just feel like I can do anything. I just look in there, I can do anything from building something I have no business building. I could go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
I could just do it.
You almost forget about the grocery in the back.
Yeah, you buy some socks.
Yeah.
Right.
I hate Menards because I want to get in and out, and you're there. You can't go in and out without spending 3 hours.
Yeah, you can't do that.
In Menards, it takes forever.
Menards is a journey. You go in there for an experience.
And Home Depot is kind of like that too. Like if you are into tools and things like that, you want to shop around. I feel like Lowe's, I just go in there and get what I needed and I'm out.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Shunga Trail or Burnett's Mound?
So I just rode my bike for 13 miles.
Okay, let's go.
The trail.
Yeah.
And so I would say Shunga Trail. I appreciate it with some of the things that I saw.
Let's go.
Love it. Okay.
Are you into like biking, cycling?
No. So I bought this Bird bike, which is like a electric bike.
Oh, like Bird scooter. They make bikes now?
They got bikes.
Okay, cool.
And so I bought a bike and I just kind of rode the bike through and not big on it because again I try to run and then I can't run as much because my knee, I had an MCL surgery. But on the 13 miles it was easier on the Bird because I can give my knee a break and use the motor. So
that's nice. I can't run 13 miles just because I don't want to.
I wouldn't even try to run 13 miles, but on the bike it got me far.
Yeah.
There you go, man.
Last one, go to date night spot in Topeka.
In Topeka, probably White Linen.
Yeah.
If you want to go somewhere nice, I mean, you can always go to the Cyrus. Cyrus is cool. And then I haven't, I'm interested about Rural Society right now.
What is that? I've seen it pop up recently.
Yeah, I think it's like I don't want to misquote what it is, but I think they're a bourbon or a whiskey bar. And I think they may have some food in there, but yeah, I think I haven't fully went in there, but we stepped in just to kind of check.
Is it open?
Yeah, it's open.
Okay,
awesome.
Yeah, we just walked by and I was like, "What is it? I want to know what that place is."
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for your time today, Michael. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Keep it up.
For sure.
Appreciate
you guys.
Absolutely.
In the city of Topeka. And where, just last thing, where can people find you online? Are you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook mostly, LinkedIn, main places you can find
You're
me.
not doing TikTok dances or anything?
Yeah. I guess my age may be showing a little bit. I don't do the TikTok or what's the other Snapchat or
Right.
I'm not a Twitter or X.
Right.
I don't do all those things. So
yeah. All right, man.
Cool.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely appreciate you guys.